and welcome back to our second part of the lesson. And here we want to look at how to overcome the problems. You are setting a business abroad. There are various challenges, like in culture, like in language. How do you solve, how do you overcome those problems? Number one, the problem of differences in language and culture, right? How do you overcome that problem? Number one, by having what we call joint ventures. So by working together, merging local businesses in the same market, a business will gain a lot of important knowledge about the culture and market. Alright? So when you start joint ventures with those businesses abroad, you will gain some important knowledge about the culture of those people, the foreign lands, and about the market. Number two, you can also start franchising, right? So you let people from the market abroad, which have local knowledge, to choose location of shop. So here we are talking about McDonald's, we are talking about KFC, for instance. You are relocating the business to, say, Uganda, Tanzania, right? And you don't know about the culture, the market in Uganda. So what happens? You let a local business, right, take up the business, help you in location of location, because they understand Uganda. The other problem is that one of transport costs being expensive, right? When you relocate a business abroad, you're looking for market abroad, there's a problem of transport costs being expensive. How do you solve that? You license, right? So the business gives permission for a local business to sell goods under its name, so they do not have to physically import all products, right? So you license the business, you give them permission to sell your goods under their name, so that they won't import the goods. The other problem is cultural differences. When there are problems with culture, how do you solve that? Localizing existing brands, right? Where a business still has the same brand image but adapts it to the market it is in. For example, we know very well Indians don't consume meat products. They are vegetarians. Now, McDonald's is known to sell meat products. So if it goes to India, what happens? They are going to start cooking vegetarian meals so as to localize the existing brand. People know about McDonald's, but since you supply meat which is not available, which is not consumed in India, you go to India but you cook vegetarian meals. Now, we go to something else called operations management. Now, production of goods and services. Production refers to the making of a product or service to satisfy consumer wants and needs. A business combines the inputs of economic resources, the factors of production, to produce a more valuable output. This could be a good or a service. So for production to take place, a business has to combine the inputs or the factors of production, which include land, labor, capital, and enterprise, to produce valuable commodities or goods. The inputs could include things like land, which is used to set up factories and for raw materials. Labor is another input. This is provided by employees, the workers, the human resource. Capital is the money, the finance to run the business. Then enterprise, here we are looking at the managers. Now, businesses want to combine all of these inputs efficiently to keep costs low, to increase profits. Right? You have to combine those inputs. Keep the costs low and increase the profits. Now, there are two main production methods. You can have labor-intensive production or capital-intensive production. So in a labor-intensive production method, this is where a lot of workers are used rather than machines to make goods. Right? We use a lot of laborers, so many workers, and few machines. It's usually done in countries with low wages so that it is more efficient. Countries like in Africa, countries in Asia, right, where the wage rates are low. In Southern America, the wage rates are low. So you can use a lot of workers as opposed to machines. But in developed countries where the wage rate is very high, they tend to use a lot of machines and less of capital. So the capital-intensive production, on the other hand, is where businesses use machines or robots rather than workers. It's usually done in developed countries where the wages are high. Productivity, on the other hand, refers to the output measured against the inputs or resources used to create it. So we say productivity is the quantity of output divided by the quantity of inputs. And the difference between production and productivity is that production is the process of creating the product or service from inputs, and productivity measures the efficiency of production. Businesses usually measure the productivity by measuring one of the factors of production against the outputs, usually labor. So we have said there are four inputs, right? Labor, capital, land, and enterprise. Labor refers to the human beings, right? The employees or the workers. So it is easier to see or to calculate their productivity. So for example, when you say you are producing bags of cement, then it's possible to say if you have 10 workers and in a day you have produced 100 bags of cement, then you can say, you can calculate the productivity of the laborers, meaning everyone was able to produce 100 divided by 10, which is 10 bags of cement. It's easy to determine that. Now, labor productivity is equals to output divided by the number of employees. How do we increase efficiency of labor? One, using fewer inputs to produce the same output, or two, using the same inputs to produce higher output, right? Then say, how do we increase productivity or efficiency? Improving the layout of machines, reduce wasted time, and moving from one workspace to another, or improving the labor skills of workers so that they use more productive techniques more efficiently, or improving employee motivation, motivate the workers, or introduce new technology like automation, right? Improve quality control. This is whereby you check if the production process is faulty to reduce any time wasted in checking. And that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you.